Hello, my name is Ade McCormack. I'm a digital strategist, so today I focus on advising companies in terms of how the world is changing and how they can capitalize on those changes. I'm a former technologist that's working at the boardroom level now, so you might say I've got a bits to boardroom background, and I do a little bit of writing, a little bit of speaking, but mainly advisory. Driving change within an organisation really depends on the size of the organisation. There comes a point whereby you're not going to get the organisation to change. It's got processes that have been running for decades, it's got a culture that's been set in its way for decades, and the only way you can move forward really is to create a new version of the business, and if possible salvage some of the 1.0 staff and infrastructure and so on. And that's not to say that the 1.0 staff can't move across to the 2.0 business, but some won't want to. They like the steady state, process-oriented factory that they work in. But to acquire the next generation of talent, you're going to have something that's more responsive, more like a lean startup or lean start over, dare I say it, to attract the best talent. One thing we've got to realize is that the talent is in the driving seat. So in order to attract the best talent, we need to kind of operate on their terms. If we see their terms as being one where they're trying to take a path towards mastery, to do the best work they can do in the limited time they have on the planet, organisations need to create an environment that allows them to do great work. So it provides great infrastructure, provides great collaboration technologies to allow them to collaborate with others in the organisation, to act as one great super brain, so to speak. Bring your own device is really only the tip of the iceberg in terms of the users or the talent demanding the terms of work. Well, it actually goes even further to bring your own data centre, and eventually BYOF, which actually stands for Bring Your Own Family, whereby young graduates, I'm seeing this in the city, when they get interviewed for jobs, they're actually, come discussions on salaries, they say, Dad, come in. They want the father to negotiate. So that's Bring Your Own Father, so to speak. But we're very aware of the concept of creches, but as this next generation of workers have parents who have to be looked after, you will see the kind of other end of the spectrum in terms of, if you're going to take me on, you're taking on my family as well. So you need to make provision for them while I do great work. Well, the strategies I would encourage for innovation is to get the recruitment process right in the first place. So recruit people who are innovative, who are creative, and fundamentally who are curious, so to speak. And then within the organisation, have mechanisms to capture this wisdom and essentially realise that the expertise in the organisation does not sit in the boardroom, but is distributed evenly around the organisation. So this whole idea of strategy is created in the boardroom and then everyone else is an operative to make it happen just doesn't work anymore. So the sooner we realise that people are talent and not resources that happen to be humans and therefore need to be treated like stationery in terms of procurement, the sooner people or organisations realise it and realise that what you've got here are humans that actually have super computer capacity in terms of creativity and so on, the sooner people get that, the sooner organisations will harness the power of human innovation. Thinking about digital leadership, there's a lot of talk about digital leadership, but obviously there's also a lot of talk about digital and IT and what the differences are. If we think of digital leadership as leadership that understands the digital economy and digital society and the human and technological dynamics and trends associated with that, then we have a good understanding of what digital leadership is. The problem is that we don't have much by way of digital leadership. So you'd expect the CIO perhaps to be the digital leader, but that's not a fair thing to put on them because in many cases they were brought in as technology managers. We are starting to hear about chief digital officers, but that has more of a kind of process feel to it and the customer experience and so on. But to get this full sociological, anthropological understand that as a trend and capitalize on that as a trend. That's what, for me, is what digital leadership is, and therefore we need to kind of find our leaders and grow our leaders with, if you like, a kind of better understanding of technology, but also the anthropological and sociological implications of what's happening in the market. I think in terms of great innovations that I have witnessed, I'm seeing it in terms of companies like Netflix and Virgin, where basically they're saying to their employees, take as much holiday as you like. We trust you. We do not want to constrain you in any way. Just do great stuff. So it's a kind of, basically they've got this concept called trust in place, where the employer trusts the employee. And this is relatively revolutionary, considering, we go back to the industrial era where management stopped the workers being lazy. So this is the first example I'm seeing of workers being genuinely seen as in the driving seat. They need to be pandered to, but that's where the value is going to come from. It's not going to come from the boardroom, it's going to come from the talent. A bit like a Premiership football team. You do not create a strategy for the Premiership football team until you have the star player in place. Then you capitalise on their particular skills. And that's what we're starting to see in the corporate world.